Welcome to the 2024 recap of Miss South Africa. My name is Dani Walker. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoy this episode enough to subscribe and support the channel. You can do so by sharing the episode with friends, hitting the thumbs up button, clicking that super thanks, or of course joining memberships for exclusive access to other episodes. This is one of my most highly requested episodes for the 2024 season, so I'm super excited to do this. I'm so bummed that my schedule didn't allow me to follow along with Crown Chasers and to film recap episodes because it's such a great watch. Crown Chasers, if you don't know, is the reality show that's created and centered around Miss South Africa. And it's fantastic because these ladies go through so many challenges, so much growth. It's entertaining, it's quality, and it's just really fun to watch. I'm not sure if it's always been like this, but is this red carpet new? Let me tell you, this red carpet, it's not quite as big as the Miss Supranational red carpet and Mr. Supranational, which is massive, but this one is quite comparable, and I loved it. I love just treating your special guests like stars or former title holders. I think it's fantastic. I also really love seeing Dr. Fez out there, our reigning Mr. Supranational from South Africa. He was so incredible at the international competition, so I love seeing opportunities like this for him. Let's also talk about the footage of the contestants at the beginning of the show. This was giving me early 2000s Miss USA intro openings where they used to shoot them off-site. I love this. I love the glam. It's elevated. The ladies look incredible. The dresses that they were wearing, these opening number pieces, are fantastic. I really love that in South Africa they use local designers and they feature them in the show, and they have all of these gorgeous custom pieces for the ladies. So it's always really fun for them, for the viewers, and obviously to promote the designers as well. I really like at the opening too. There were dancers, we had these detailed shots of the crown. The crown was used throughout the entire production. You got to see it on a pedestal beside Bonang during the show. It was so lovely. This crown is clearly custom, it's incredibly detailed, and frankly, it looks so heavy. And I love in some lighting, it just looked like there was a sunset in the middle of it. It was so beautiful. I also really like that Natasha got a little cameo in the opening. She was blowing that horn on stage, and it was just such great camera work bouncing around on stage. I like that they were set up in different locations. There were so many small touches during the show that I really appreciate. It's like all those little details that just make it so special for this edition. And let me tell you, the stage was incredible too. There were so many stairs, and this frankly worried me. I was like, oh no, are the girls about to be walking down all of these stairs? I was concerned. And then we saw these two runways on either side of the stage. They were just multi-levels. It was super creative. The stairs were also all LED, so they made really great use of that throughout the show. Can we also just give a shout out to Bonang, the host of the show? She is that girl. Can I just please be her when I grow up? Okay, she's an entrepreneur, the host of Miss South Africa. She is stunning, and her looks are flawless every single time. They do not miss. And I love that she has so many outfit changes throughout the show. And not only that, just like our queens, she even does photo shoots for each of her looks, and you can see these looks on her social media, and I think that that's so great that we're not just seeing them for a couple seconds in the show, that we're actually acknowledging the designers and the teams that go behind all of these looks, not just for our contestants, but for our host as well. I just think that that's brilliant. The scripting of this show is something that I really believe sets it apart. The way that Bonang describes what it is to be a Miss South Africa is so beautiful, it's so eloquent, and you can tell that a lot of time and a lot of care and thought went into that. The other interesting thing about this show is they begin the competition by sharing about the prize package, and prize packages in the past few years in pageantry, it's like, where have they gone? What are they? Why are they so mysterious? I don't know. But just to give you a little idea, here's what's in Miss South Africa's prize package. She will get a new car, which is a Mercedes. She gets a 3-bedroom apartment. Of course, she gets a wardrobe for throughout the year. She'll be dressed. She gets furniture. She gets L'Oreal makeup, which is one of their big sponsors. She gets Sun International airfare for her year of reign, and 1 million rand. So I don't know how far that'll get you in South Africa. In the US, that translates to about $57,000 in case you're wondering. Always a fan. Natasha was here, she was hosting, and also she got to interview various former title holders throughout the show, which I thought was really special. One thing I thought was interesting to see is that they actually have a 30-year-old age limit. That's unique because Miss South Africa currently has the franchise rights to Universe and to Supra. And a couple of interesting things have happened over the past few years with who they're gonna send to Miss Universe. So in the past, they were basically pulling from the top 3 contestants and then kind of just picking who aligns best with Supra, Universe, and World when they had that franchise. And then something interesting happened because Natasha won last year, but she had already competed and represented South Africa at Universe. So they had no choice but to send Brioni, the first runner-up. So Natasha said, I don't even want to compete at Supra, even though that was potentially an option. So Brioni competed at Universe as well as at Supra National within a year's time. And that's a lot of prep, that's a lot of work. They were really keeping her busy. But what makes it all like how did they manage all of this was that Anne, within the past year or so, said that she only wants the winner of whoever you pick that night, whoever wins Miss South Africa, for example, to go to Miss Universe, not a runner-up. So they had to get around that rule a little bit because Natasha already competed at Universe. So I'm assuming though that our winner this year will be competing at Universe. I'm not sure, or if they're able to get around that again. The other great thing about this show that you're gonna notice is that there are so many clips of crown chasers, and it's really nice because there were a lot of things in the show you could tell that helped us to learn more about the contestants and why the judges were loving the contestants. And I thought that it was such great useful information. Why not use it during the telecast? It is available for free to watch on their app, but I'm also curious because I don't live in South Africa. Is the reality show on a station locally? Is it nationally available to South Africans to watch? I'm very curious. Let me know if you know. We saw some U-caps of the contestants, got to learn a little bit more about them, and then Bonang changed into her second gown, which I think it was probably my favorite look of the entire show. The liquid beading, just the piece behind her. I loved it. Loved it. Now we have our top 10 that came out in their swimsuits. This is how you do a swimsuit competition. The suits looked amazing on each contestant. The colors were incredible and the capes were so beautiful. There was so much quality there. I just really, really loved the entire look for each of the contestants. I didn't feel like somebody got the short end of the stick. They all looked great. I did have a few standouts for this though. Lebohan, the first one for me, she had a really, really strong opening, and I also thought that this pink really, really shined on her. For me, seeing her in this pink, it was perfect. The shade was really complimenting her, so love that. And she almost took a little bit of a fall on the stairs. So ladies, that's why you really should be practicing stairs. You never know if you're gonna get any, but she really adjusted to that very well, didn't let it affect her performance, and she moved on. Mia is our eventual winner of the night, so of course we're gonna talk about her swim performance. So she is very beautiful on stage, and in some angles, there's something about her eyes that kind of remind me of Natasha or Rolene, or maybe a mixture of the two title holders, just in her eyes. I don't know if you see that as well, but she is really, really beautiful, and I feel like that is one of her strengths. But if they end up sending her to Miss Universe, I do think that the swimsuit walk needs work fundamentally, like from the ground up, because I do think it will prevent her from moving forward in a semifinal. Layla looked very beautiful during this segment. I really liked her. There were a couple times where she glanced down a little bit when I felt that she didn't need to, so that's always a note. Always keep your eyes up, ladies. The floor isn't going to disappear, but she looked lovely, and she does have a really, really great stage presence. I apologize if I mispronounce any of our South African names as well. I am so sorry. I was trying to catch the pronunciation. It's still tricky for me. Onalina, the face, oh my gosh, she really had the crowd going throughout the competition. You could tell, big fan favorite here, and no wonder why. She's just so striking on stage. And of course, the color that she was dressed in really popped on her as well. And then the performance. She had a great total package in my opinion. I really loved her energy and her walk. That's what stood out for me about her, and I love that, especially for a swimsuit competition. I want to see energy from a contestant. I don't want her to look like she's bored on stage, and unfortunately we do see that a lot. Kirsten for swim. Okay, honestly, I could have seen her moving on. I really, really like her hairstyling for this round of competition. It was perfection. There was not a hair out of place. Color looked great on her. I liked her stage presence too. I'll try my best with this next name, Nompumelelo. I hope that that's at least a little bit close. The opening look was there for me. Just that initial expression, it showed so much of her confidence on stage. That's all I needed to see. And then of course she still had a great performance for the rest of it, but I was like, move her forward. Now we saw something really interesting for the show. The ladies came out in these beautiful dresses holding candles, and there was this spoken word recitation on stage, and it was beautiful, and it was about the ladies, and it was powerful. And I really liked it. It was very unique, and that is one thing you can expect from South Africa. I would say are unique performances. There's so much variety here in terms of the artists that they feature during their show, and I really appreciate that. Bonang had another outfit change. Just look at her, gorgeous. Moving along to our top 7, these ladies got to share their pitch. And this reminds me a lot of Miss America 2.0 when they came out with their social impact initiative. And I liked the concept and the idea of it, but I thought that it was too long and it sounded too rushed. But I like this format where it's a very quick and easy to understand and to comprehend pitch for the judges / audience. Tahira, I thought that her delivery was quite choppy. She also had the same facial expression throughout the entire speech, and that's really tough. I always teach a lot of my clients for speech competitions that there's different elements to what we're doing on stage when we want to present a winning speech. So it's not just about what we say, it's about how we say it, our tone, it's about our facial expression, and of course it's about that message and making sure that it connects with our audience. So I feel like the facials is one thing that she was missing, although the message of education, of course, is very important. Ona Lena talked about gender-based violence, which is a very pressing issue and it affects women all around the world. It breaks my heart when I think about those situations. And one thing that really struck me about her is how commanding she was in this speech. You could just tell that she truly cares about this topic and getting this work done, and I feel like that's why it was so easy to advance her. Kirsten talked about how she had ADHD and also what she would be advocating for is neurodiversity. Now, I feel like neurodiversity strongly affects the education system and how we educate people and how we measure and recognize intelligence, and because of that, I feel like it's a really important issue and topic actually in today's day and age, but I just don't really feel like this initiative was connecting with the judges quite as much as some of the other contestants were, and I will say her delivery towards the middle end was getting a little bit choppy as well. Mia, our queen, she talked about being a deaf South African woman and how at times she's felt excluded and that she wants to reach out to those who have been excluded as well and to encourage them to live out their wildest dreams just like she is. So I feel like that was a slam dunk. I have tried to pronounce our next contestant's name and I know that I'm not even close. So I'm just gonna talk about her pitch. She said that she stands on the shoulders of those before her and they really continue her and encourage her to move forward. She talked about her background in criminology and her hashtag safe here and that her work would primarily be with children. But one thing about her, aside from all the amazing work that she's doing, is her delivery. She spoke so well and so confidently. I loved listening to her and I would have advanced her as well. Layla talked about how 43% of kids are being raised by single parents and over 90% of those parents are women. And so she talked about how our children are our future leaders, but we also have to take care of who is raising those future leaders, and I thought that was such a great point. She spoke very well, and obviously this is near and dear to her because she is also a single mom. Nompumelelo talked about democratizing mentorship, and one thing that happened during her speech is that the microphone seemed to cut out, and so Bonang stepped in and gave her microphone, and I was just so impressed that Nompumelelo did not even flinch when that happened, and I really hope this is a lesson to anybody presenting any kind of a speech. Anything can go on during your speech. There can be a crying baby, there can be distractions, half of the stage can fall apart, whatever it is, just don't let that shake you or distract from your message. And I feel like because that didn't happen for her, that she was still able to speak so passionately and so well, and I feel like that's really what made her stand out and helped her to advance. Now in the show, we cut from a 10 to a 5. We had another incredible singer for the gown portion of the competition, and there were gentlemen helping the ladies down the stairs. I was like, wise choice, because those are a lot of stairs. Mia looked so beautiful when entering, and I just love that the ladies all look amazing in their gowns. Like, that is one thing South Africa does so well, is like I said earlier, I don't think anyone gets the short end of the stick. You can tell that there's cohesion in the collections that the women are wearing, but everybody looks good. Like, even if your personal gown might not be your personal favorite, you're still gonna look great. Personally, I think Mia looked stunning when she entered, like a queen. We've seen a lot of these gown styles with a little bit of the feathers, it's white, and that seems to be such a trend this year, but she rocked this and looked lovely. The crowd really loved Onalina, and I can see why. She was really glowing in this gown. Love the shoulders, love the feathers. Love her face in this. Gosh, she is just so stunning on stage. She has such a stage face. Something about her just like pops, makes you look right at her. Absolutely gorgeous. And just the way that she carries herself is very elegant. Nompumelelo, she looked really beautiful, but I feel like her performance got cut a little bit short. I was disappointed because we kind of missed her big moment at the end where she got to stop and stand and pose, so I was bummed out about that. Honestly, I feel like she just looks like a queen out of a movie. The hair, the gown, the face, there's just something about her that when I see her, I just think is stunning. She has a certain sweetness, I think, about her expression. That's, I feel like, probably the best way I could describe it. Layla, I loved this gown on her. It's a very, I would say, wearable look in pageantry. We've seen similar styles recreated over the years, but I feel like it's a look you can wear again and again, and there's a timelessness to this halter type style with the feather bottom, very beautiful on her. And I will say, I really felt like at the end of the stairs, she had such a moment that I really loved. Did you catch that as well? Also, when I was watching this, I'm not a mom, but I was just thinking about what if I were their mom? I think I would be bawling. It was so beautiful. I would be so proud if my daughter stood like that on a stage and displayed so much confidence and poise. I wouldn't be able to keep it together. Now our top 5 were asked on stage questions. So the 5 all got different questions. Let's talk about their answers. Mia was asked, as soon as Miss South Africa is crowned, her followers on social media increase significantly. If you were to win and guarantee that your next post will go viral, what would you say and why? She said, I would first post a photograph of my crowning moment and say that tonight we have created a new generation of believers. All the little girls out there who have ever felt different because they are not what society has told them to be will believe that they are so wildly capable, just like I am. Right there, I feel like she won the pageant right there. We didn't even need to hear a top 3 question, frankly. Next question, has tech brought us closer together or driven us further apart, and why? She said, I believe that technology has in fact driven us very far apart. These past couple of weeks have been very difficult for me because I could see how South Africa has been divided through the work of technology, and I'm standing here urging South Africans to remember who they are so that South Africa can thrive again. For me, I think one of the hardest parts about watching Miss South Africa and judging it from at home is that I feel like South African women overall excel in on-stage question and answers. So it's like, how do I pick the best answer of answers that are all great? So that's how I felt about this one. This was great. She did a great job. What does empowerment mean to you, and how would you utilize your platform as Miss South Africa to empower others, particularly the marginalized community, to overcome obstacles and to reach their full potential? She answered, empowerment to me means rising as I rise with others. Being a product of Soweto Township, where we are crippled by social ills, I think that it's important to remind ourselves that we are not a product of our circumstance. This reminder needs to be constant in knowing who you are in your true identity and trusting that you are honestly deserving of everything that comes your way. She kind of blew it out of the water with this one, honestly, especially the ending. She got the crowd going. It was just very well said. What have you learned about yourself and the build-up over the past couple of weeks that makes you the right representative of our country at this time? And she said, aside from crown chasers being one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, I have learned that my sensitivity is not a weakness. I have learned my sensitivity will allow me as Miss South Africa to pay attention. There's so many ills that South Africa is going through, and we need a sensitive Miss South Africa to have a vision and a plan for this country. I like that she mentioned that she realized one of her personal strengths, and I talk to clients a lot about this. I say, make sure that you have character adjectives prepared for any round of competition, because I feel like it's a really useful tool to kind of just throw those character adjectives into your answers, weave them in, sprinkle them wherever you can. Layla was asked, how do you believe your identity can inspire other individuals to truly be themselves without conforming to societal norms? And she says, to give myself permission to live in the dualities of my imperfections, my smallness and my greatness, because nobody is perfect, and God has gifted us, each and every single one of us, a unique gift, and we have to embrace it and accept it. And if the world doesn't accept you, then it doesn't matter, because their opinion is not relevant. Wow, what a strong opening she had there. Her smallness and her greatness, the dualities of her imperfections. Is this just off the top of your head? I need to know. Was this pre-prepared? Because I'm impressed. I also want to really make mention of this moment in the show where they described what a Miss South Africa is and what she does, and you got to actually see what she does during the year, and they showed all these clips of former Miss South Africas and the work that they do in their communities and the impact, and it's a big impact that they're making, and I love that. And it's one of those things that for me, it really shows you just some of the relevance of pageantry today. Now we are tabulating, and they're not just gonna let us sit there and fill time. No, they brought us another fabulous performance. And I will say, whoever choreographed this made great use of the staging. I loved it. I loved the movement of the dancers on stage. It complemented the performer. Well done. Now we narrowed down to a top three. Our three were Onalina, Mia, and Nopumelelo. The last question that everybody got was actually from the public, and it's the same question, and this is what it was. What are some of the changes you would bring to South Africa as a nation? Simple question, could be a complex answer. First to answer was Onalina. She said, one thing I love about my country is our ability to unite despite whatever we are going through. My country is one that embraces the diversity and moves forward to achieve whatever goal they require. I love South Africa because we are a country and a nation that is immovable, that is unchangeable. The one thing I would change is... Buzzer rang, she couldn't complete the answer. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, there's not going to be a title for her tonight moving forward, unfortunately. Mia said, we are leaving too many South Africans behind, and I am here to teach the included how to be inclusive towards the excluded, as well as empowering the excluded with tools they can use for their full potential, because our country is at its strongest when it's unified. Like I said, I really feel like she won in her top 5 question and answer, but this right here just solidified it. She was very consistent the entire night. Last we had Nompumelelo, and she said, I think that South Africa has some of the best strategies and policies in place, but it's time we have a friendly conversation with our leaders about accountability. She really got the crowd going here. And she continued to say, a promise made is a promise that must be kept. And as a Miss South Africa, when I say I will rise as I rise with others, that is exactly what I'll do. So this was a great answer, actually very powerful, but we did see her repeat part of her phrasing from her initial answer. And I talk about this a lot. I really encourage contestants not to repeat their messaging twice. We've heard it once, we gotta move on. I also just wanna mention Natasha's gown for her farewell. I am obsessed with it. The reveal, all of it. I really wanna wear this gown. It actually reminded me a lot of the evening gown. I believe it was Venezuela won her national competition in 2019, but it kind of reminded me of just like how much that gown was. There was a lot to it. Now the top 2 were announced much like they do at Thailand, where they call forward the next two contestants and whoever remains as the second runner-up. Moving forward was Nompumelelo and Mia. After a little break, we got to our crowning, and Nompumelelo was our first runner-up and Mia was our winner. So she is the new Miss South Africa 2024. Congratulations, Mia. I'm so excited. The other thing I didn't even mention throughout this entire competition, because she's just so great, and frankly I wasn't even thinking about it, she is hearing impaired. I don't know if she's the first Miss South Africa to be hearing impaired. She does wear a cochlear implant, and so that is something that really makes her unique. It makes her story very different, her messaging very different, and I feel like when you have a unique upbringing, you're able to offer something new to your country, to the organization. So it's very exciting. I'm very, very excited for her. I think that she's outstanding. And the thing where I would really put the emphasis on for any of her training, if she does go to Universe, would just be the walk. I think other than that, she's fantastic. She's just gonna need that strong walk to be able to make sure that she places in that top 20. And then, you know, however they break it up, 10, 5, 3, so that she has that chance to speak on stage, because speaking is one of her strengths, in my opinion. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you at the next episode. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next.